Yo, what's up? It's DNA for sure. This video is about what is called Know Your Weed. I got a question from one of my supporters, one of my viewers, my fans, my admirers. I still didn't get your fucking name, bro. It was on my video on all my advice for hustlers. And I just made a really dark video that I'm not gonna post. And I just want to be happy again without smoking a cigarette. So I'm gonna make this video. Now he asked me how to make your weed bud and grow leaves and start making the product that we smoke, produce the actual weed. I don't smoke weed. I said that in my last video about growing weed, and the answer to that question is what you do is I like to germinate my seeds. Germinate the seed, put it in the soil, put the light on the soil until the sprout comes out. Leave the light on there for about 3 days. 3 days, 6 to 8 hours. You don't have to do this part. But the secret comes into giving it of as little light as possible without it dying. And I think the least amount that you can give it is like 4 hours a day. But you give it the 3 hours, the 3 days of 6 hours of light or less. Then take the light off for 2 days, no more than 48 hours, because any longer than that, mold will start to grow, either in the bottom of the plant or on the top or on the plant, and the plant will die. So the least that you should give it is 18 hours of light and 3 to 4 days. Then completely remove the light for 2 days. When this happens, the plant will grow quick. Because any amount of light that you give it, it will soak up more than if it thinks that light is fucking available for 12 plus hours a day. And it will think that it's the season to be harvested, and it will, or close to being harvested, and it will start to respond accordingly. Now, when you keep the light on for 24 hours a day, it's gonna grow taller and bigger and taller and bigger until it's reached its maximum potential, and it's not gonna do what you need it to do. Now, the quicker that you get it to make buds, the smaller it's usually gonna be. You're not gonna get as much as weed, and it's gonna fucking be harvested quicker. If you take the light off and you give it fucking 6 to 8 hours or less light a day, it's gonna fucking be finished in about 90 days. A little bit more, a little bit less. So don't expect to get a whole pound out of it, like if you were to wait and grow a fucking plant for 6 to 8 months. A big fucking 4 or 5 foot plant. Now, the importance of learning your weed. To be able to assess the situation as far as the lights, what I described, that works with most plants, like 90% of plants. But as far as you knowing your weed, you need to learn, it's one of the most important factors, the climate for the environment that you need to set up for your plants. You can have hot and humid for, tropical weed. You can have hot and dry for desert weed like Afghan Kush. You can have cold dry like Canadian weed, or you can have a fucking humid cold like fucking somewhere by a body of water, like in fucking New York or some shit, or part of Canada next to Great Lakes. But you need to know that so you can maximize your plant, and you can get the most out of it, is what I mean. You can get the best quality and the most amount of weed that you can get from your plant. You also need to learn there's different what's it called? Curing techniques for different types of bud. I don't think that every type of weed has the same curing techniques. Some people use the closet where you hang it upside down in the fucking dark and wrap it up in some stuff for like 3 weeks. Some people use the canister technique where you drill holes in the thing and fucking put the top on. Some people just put the shit in the oven. Now, I don't think that I wouldn't recommend the oven thing, but you should definitely learn and master different curing techniques which you can practice with other types of plants. Next would be oh, to know your weed. Another good reason that you need to know your weed is because you can color and flavor these types of weeds. Um, of course, the best way to know what kind of weed you're getting is to order the seeds. Or my girl just came from Denver, and she says that they don't sell seeds in dispensaries. I'm not sure if they de-seed the marijuana there. But if you get your weed on the street, if you smoke a lot of weed anyway and you buy like an ounce, you're gonna get some seeds out of that. If you're a fucking weed king like me and was obsessed with weed at some point and smoked a lot of different varieties of weed, you should be able to tell where the shit came from and compare it to what it looks like when you search the strand. For example, I just smoked some shit that was very similar to Jamaican haze. And even though it wasn't a haze, if I would have attempted to grow that weed, or if I had 3 or 4 seeds out of that pack, I would have been able to successfully grow it because I knew where it was from. Okay, but anyways, as far as the color, if you know what kind of weeds you have, you can maximize the color and the taste and the smells that you get from it. If you know that you have some weed that is pink, but the weed that you got wasn't pink, you can make the warm more warm if you're growing indoors and make your weed as pink as you can get it. Now, as far as the colors, the warm colors come from warm, and the cool colors come from the cold, with the exception of white and green. That depends on the kind of weed that you have and the genetics, of course. It's just like people. Not every seed is going to act the same as far as the coloring and the taste and the smell. But you can maximize the colors and the taste and the smell with your environment. That is why it's so important to know your weed and to be able to set up your environment how you need to. What I suggest is you get humidifiers and dehumidifiers, or a machine that can both humidify and dehumidify the room, and you can switch it, and it does both. A heater and an AC. I don't know how cold the fucking AC will get your room, but if you live anywhere where it gets cold, you can time it with the climate and put your plant outside for the last couple weeks or days to get it to change into, a deeper green or a white or any of the cool colors, purple, blue, or that mix of purple and blue, because that's what happens. Or black. Um, One technique that I do not suggest, that I don't recommend, if you want to make your weed taste and smell different, which I haven't really experimented with this, you can, let's say you want your weed to taste like red Kool-Aid. That's going to be kind of hard to color your purple Kool-Aid. You stop giving it water. You have to water it differently the closer that you get to the harvest anyway. But let's say you know you're gonna harvest it in the next 2 weeks. Stop giving it water for about a week and a half and only give it purple Kool-Aid. And I've heard, there's a rumor, there's theory, that's the only thing that is gonna be intaking is fucking purple Kool-Aid. So you give it the purple Kool-Aid and it's gonna taste like Kool-Aid and it's gonna smell like Kool-Aid and it's gonna fucking look like purple Kool-Aid. Or it's gonna look purple. But knowing your weed, another good reason that you need to know your weed is so you can clone it, and this is a good way to actually get to know your weed. I always suggest that people take 10 seeds when they're trying to grow, and plant like get 3 different pots. Experiment with these seeds to see what you have. Put it in a cold room. Put 3 of these plants in a cold room or in a cold environment outside. Put them in a hot ass room. Put them in a 90-degree room. Cause rarely is it gonna be like, normal 70 degrees. It's just ideal for a weed plant. 70 degrees, a light mist, medium humidity. It's usually not like that. It's usually either one or the other, or 70 dropping gradually to a good fucking 40 right before fucking freezing temperatures. That's usually what it is. Or starts off at 70, or starts off at fucking 90 for most of its life, and then it goes down to 70, then you harvest it. That's usually what it is. Because them being harvested is them responding to their environment. Anyways, if you can experiment with that, you can see, okay, this is what I have. I'm going to clone it. If you don't know what cloning is, you should definitely do research on it. But cloning is basically when you get the solution, you cut a branch off your stem and you dip it in the solution, put it in the soil, and the branch that you cut off grows its own plant, which is awesome and amazing. Um, Knowing your weed. Why is it important to know your weed? It's just as important to know your weed as it is to know how to grow actual weed. And I've been researching this shit for like since I was in middle school. Because I was buying weed to sell people seeds. And I was asking them, and they were telling me that they're fucking growing their own plants and this and this. And I was like, what? And I researched it, and I found out it was a lot easier and a little bit more complex than a lot of people think. Um, that's really about it. I mean, knowing your weed is, of course, it's important. It's just as important as, you have to, for certain types of buds, you know what kind of weed that you like. So you probably want to grow the types of weed that you like. You need to know that these are the types of plants that produce a certain amount of THC, a certain amount of CBD, which is the opposite. You need to know what kind of vitamins and minerals and all these nutrients that these plants need. I grew some Jack Herrera. When I usually grow weed, I use normal soil mixed with sand and Georgia red clay. After a minute, after about 2 weeks, the leaves would start to turn a little bit yellow. Put a cup of milk in it. It was good the very next day. Within like 12 hours, it was good. Put a cup of milk in it, a little bit of water, sprayed it. It was good. Um, Not every plant reacted like that. The Jack Herrera, the roots turn fucking purple. The stem turned purple. It didn't get green. It didn't need as much fucking light, or actually it needed more light than I gave it, and a little bit more water than I gave it, and it ended up dying. But that's okay. Those are my tips. A little bit of advice here and there. Um, I gave you my fucking super secret soil mix. I didn't tell you how to place it, but I gave you a good amount. I'm not like the master grower. I would say read books, go on eBaum's World, go on YouTube. That's a little hot, but you can do that obviously, and experiment, man. Grow other plants. Grow mint is not the same as growing weed because I tried that. Grow all kind of plant. Grow flowers, man. Grow all kind of shit. That's it. It's DNA for sure. How to grow weed. Oh wait, no, no. Knowing your plant. Peace.